Hello, and welcome back to another Pen Talk. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining me. It's always good to have some company when we're staying at home, as we all should. So I get motivated occasionally. I watch a lot of videos on YouTube, which is nice since I publish a fair amount of videos on YouTube. So Doug played a great rock song and then talked about a pen that he had recently got, which was something his viewers had recommended. So that reminded me of this pen, which I bought many, many years ago, I think in 2013 approximately, and that's based on doing some research, not necessarily based on any memory I have or any other documentation. Somewhere there's a box, but I'm not going to search for it, but I do have it. And this pen is definitely a stealthy pen. It's called the Monteverde Invincia Deluxe Nighthawk, and it was a Goulet Pens exclusive back in 2013. We'll give you the links for the Goulet blog on it and the video on it. And also Matt Armstrong, the Pen Habit, did a review on this pen in 2013 and he loved it. So now 7 years later, I'm revisiting the pen and to see if I will enjoy it more than I did when it originally came into my possession. And I obviously didn't do a video on it then, so now's a good time to do it. And I really think that carbon fiber weave that they used for the cap and the barrel just set the pen off. So Mr. Crab is going to wink and we're going to look at it in more detail. I think we need to look at how they identified this pen. It's all on the cap band. So you got your Monteverde USA, and as you move around to the back, you'll see it's Invincia Deluxe Nighthawk. It's hard to get that to show up, but it is a stealthy pen. The pen disassembled fairly well, and even though this was my pen, and I did clean it before I put it away, when I brought it back out again, I still did a thorough cleaning of the pen. Pulled the nib and feed out of the nib collar. It all came apart relatively easily. I don't see any identification on the nib. The collar looks like it might be a standard collar, but nothing that I found matches it. Yovo, Bach, Schmidt, Moonman, they're all slightly different threads. So consider this one unique to Monteverde. The pen is held up very well considering it's close to 7 years old. It's hard to believe I've been doing this type of thing for that long. You know, it's made well. It wasn't inexpensive for the time, you know, being a little bit over $100, but as a Goulet exclusive, and that carbon fiber just works very well in this pen. And I don't think I've seen a pen, or definitely not handled a pen, that has done this as well. You know, it's a solid brass pen body that they put the carbon fiber on. You know, the pen's going to last forever. The section is also solid brass. And whatever they've done for this coating, it's extremely durable. This pen was never in serious rotation in my writing. So it'll be interesting when we ink it up to see what I think of the pen now. You know, I reviewed the reviews from Pen Habit. You know, we all miss Matt. And he loved the pen. So it'll be interesting to see what I think about it. You know, it's a standard injection molded feed. It has that flat bottom that fits in and is keyed into the nib collar. So all in all, the pen has survived well and is still current. And that standard Monteverde screw-in converter, which is a standard converter, standard international size, so you can use cartridges or other converters if you would like. So we're going to reassemble. I already picked out an ink, and we're going to see how this pen writes now. Even though the LED is not going to shine through here, I just wanted to show how the inside of that cap is done. Very nice plastic liner, which should seal the pen very, very well. And it also protects that top finial. It looks like there's a piece of brass with some interesting notches in it that lets you secure this finial that holds in the clip. But if you need to, you could pull out that plastic insert and use a tool to take off the clip. Nice design. So what other kind of like black stealthy pens do I have? And here are two that I have recently reviewed. I'll put links up in the description on the video. Here's a Hero, and here's a Hung Dion Black Forest, appropriate name. Both of these pens are smaller than the Monteverde, which is not on the large side. I would say it's on the average size as far as pen goes. Let's uncap them, post them, and look at the nib end. Here's where the Hero drops out of the stealthy competition because it doesn't have a black nib. The Hung Dion is certainly hanging in there, and that has that great black Fude nib, which I really enjoy. These all have different sections. The Black Forest one has the smallest one. This is a nice gradual taper, which probably is the most comfortable of these three sections from my viewpoint as far as writing goes. And this is pretty severe in how this is contoured and the size of it relative to the barrel and the rest of the pen. Like I said, if they'd have made that even like the Hero or a larger version of a Hung Dion, I think it would have been a better experience. But this is a nice number 6 nib, where these are number 5 nibs. So in that design case, Monteverde made a good choice. I made a quick decision on the ink. It's one of my new Pen ABS inks that I haven't put into a pen. And I do put the number on the back because it's not on the bottle anywhere. It is 313. And the card is very interesting. It's part of that Shining series. So I've done a couple of these. And it definitely has some interesting glitter on it. And it definitely has a very interesting chromatography with the red, pretty intense, vibrant red, and then an intense blue. Red and blue makes a form of purple. I'd say it's in the violet family. And yes, it has glitter, kind of like a bronze color. So whenever you use these inks, you need to shake them up to get that glitter dispersed. And it stays dispersed for a while, enough to fill the pen. I think you'll see from the writing example, we got a lot of glitter. So I would say that this is the most stealthy pen that has ever been made. I'm certain maybe some people might disagree. There might be an Aurora out there, or there might be some obscure ones. And I've also done a series recently on some very black Chinese models, but to me what really sets this one apart is, number one, it's made extremely well, and number two, that woven carbon fiber just really sets it off, and that feel is phenomenal. So part of the attraction of a pen is when you first pick it up, how does it feel? And this certainly feels well. It's not a light pen, but I wouldn't call it extremely heavy. It does have that dense feeling to it. It's not an overly large pen, but it's large enough. So the cap unscrews with a little over 1 turn, which is really nice. And without posting it, it fits nicely in the hand. That section is highly contoured and just on the edge of what I can enjoy writing with, but it does work okay. And you are limited to really that one part. Yeah, you can hold it up here if you want, but you do feel that collar here that I think is used to keep this carbon fiber sleeve in place. And even though this is a kind of looks like it could be slippery, that section feels fine, just like it would if it was made out of ebonite. The pen does post well, post fairly deeply, post securely. It does change the balance, but if you find it too light to write without it, posting it certainly adds the weight to the pen, but not necessarily in the right place. But each of us have our own peculiarities as to what we enjoy when we put nib to paper. We'll give you the weights of the pen. We'll give you the size of that section just so you can put things in perspective. So Matt fell in love with this pen, and I can understand exactly why. The Delta that had a 1.5 millimeter stub in it is going back to its original owner, so I needed to bring another pen into play, and this one called out to me. And then Doug's review of the Durograph made me reconsider and bring this pen out and show it to you. So let's see how that nib works with this nice shiny Pen BBS ink. Well, I think you can see and hear it's smooth, it's nice, it lays down a really lot of ink. And I didn't do anything to this nib. This is the way that it writes. And I think I understand why I probably didn't like it 7 years ago. I've learned to enjoy wet nibs more than I did then. And I used to write on paper that wasn't as fountain pen friendly as I do now, so therefore I may not have understood how nice this can be. And this is a very interesting color ink. So the reddish violet I've seen. So let's rate this pen, and I'm going to give it a 9.6. I'm not going to do details, but it's going to get 2 checks for the build, 3 checks for the look, and 2 checks for the nib. What stops it from being any higher is I think that section could have been designed better, at least from my writing style. And that's really the only change that I would suggest for the pen. Other than that, it works very, very well. So the Invincia is still made by Monteverde. Here's one that I found that is somewhat similar. I think the carbon fiber makes this one unique, but they still consider to make stealthy ones. And they're not going to call them Nighthawk because that's what Goulet pens called this one, and they don't want to reuse that name. The look is just phenomenal. What more can you say? So hopefully you've enjoyed this look at a little bit of a throwback pen, and a pen that I've now reconsidered after many, many years, and I like it. So I'm certain I'll be writing a few letters with this, because how can you not with that ink? Let's take a look and see if that glitter has come through. You really have to catch the light, and that's the one thing I think is interesting about these glitter inks from Pen VBS is they're not over the top. It's a little subtle, but when you hit that right angle, they really do glitter. So thank you for watching. I mean, I'm impressed. May you find pens that you love and find anything that will help you enjoy and get through the tough times that we're all in right now. It's, you know, unfortunate that the world is experiencing what it is, but one can only hope that the light at the end of the tunnel brings us to a better place. It may take some time to get there. So, meanwhile, write some letters, put some ink on paper, find some nice ink and nice pens to use and put them to use. So this is the end of this video. And we're going to say bye until the next video. A nice writer and great ink.